Hey, this is Nico. This is not financial advice, this is education. Today we're going to talk about this book, The Richest Man in Babylon. It was written a long time ago, but the concepts in it still hold today. I'm going to break it down, do a few different videos on it. One of the main concepts in the book is what the author calls the 3 laws of successfully creating wealth. The first law is this: a part of all you earn is yours to keep. Basically, this means when you get your paycheck, the first person you pay is yourself. The author suggests that you pay yourself 10% of whatever you've earned. You can still spend money, you can still enjoy yourself, but the idea is to pay yourself something out of your earnings before you do that. After you've paid yourself that 10%, the rest is what you live on. Pay your bills, spend as you like. The author uses the metaphor of wealth being like a tree. You start with a seed. The sooner you plant that seed, the sooner the tree is going to grow. And the more you water and care for that tree, the more quickly it's going to grow into something that's going to provide you shade. The idea is the sooner you start saving money and the more regularly you do that, the sooner that you'll grow wealth. Now, beyond the first law of growing wealth, which is saving, paying yourself first, the author points out 2 more laws in the introduction to the book. The second law is to seek advice from people who are competent in this area. He uses the example, if you wanted to invest in jewels, you wouldn't ask a friend who's a bricklayer to help you do that. Finally, the third law is to invest so that your money can grow and compound. We'll talk more about that. Okay, back to The Richest Man in Babylon. The next section of the book is called 7 Cures for a Lean Purse. The first of these cures he describes as start thy purse to fattening. The author talks about that no matter what you do, you want to pay yourself first. So if you earn $10, you set $1 aside, and the remaining 9 is what you spend. Richest Man in Babylon, 7 Cures for a Lean Purse. The second one is control thy expenditures. The first way to control your expenditures is to have a budget. Now you may say, I don't want to have a budget. I just want to spend my money like I want to spend it. Well, this is the point where you need to ask yourself, what are your necessities and what are your desires? Necessities, of course, are things that you really need or that you really, really want, versus desires are things that you more casually want or would be nice to have. Think of a budget as a way to make sure you get your necessities, but also work towards those desires that you want. If you have lots of casual things that you're spending on, the author describes these as creating leaks in your purse. And what these do is they prevent you from working towards getting those desires that are really much more important to you. So bottom line for this budget is you've taken your earnings, you've set 10% aside for yourself, you've got this 90% left. That's what you work on to meet those necessities and also work towards those desires. So you may look at that and say, I don't have enough money to pay all my bills. Then there's a different problem. You need to look at your budget, look at how you're living, and ask if you're living beyond your means. It's kind of a harsh reality, but the math doesn't lie. If you make $100 and your expenses are $110, there's a problem. Richest Man in Babylon, 7 Cures for a Lean Purse. Number 3, make thy gold multiply. The fundamental thing you need to understand to multiply your wealth is compound interest and the rule of 72. The rule of 72 is based on the rate of return of your investment and how that helps us understand the number of years it will take for your investment to double. Let's use an example of an investment in the stock market. We'll use the S&P 500, which is an index of 500 stocks. Now, over time, over many years, on average, that's returned about 9% a year. That means if we take 72 divided by that 9%, that tells us that your investment would double after 8 years. Let's start with a basic example of you saving $2,000. So after 8 years, that's going to be $4,000. After 16 years, it's going to be $8,000. After 24 years, it's going to be $16,000. After 32 years, it's going to be $32,000. So you can see how time is your friend here. The earlier you get started with that savings, the sooner that money is going to start to compound more rapidly because it's starting to grow on itself. Now let's do another example where you save $2,000 a year for the next 10 years. So you've put in a total of $20,000, $2,000 for 10 years. So I'll do the math for you. After 40 years, which would be 5 doublings, right? We're doubling every 8 years. You would have over $400,000. So you can see how important it is to get started soon. There's this expression. It's not timing the market, it's time in the market. So the longer you have your money invested, the more time it has to compound, and the more you can use that power of compounding to grow your wealth. Richest Man in Babylon, 7 Cures for a Lean Purse, number 4, Guard thy treasures from loss. The first point here is to not make crazy investments. There's a lot of people out there saying, do what I did, get rich quick, try this crazy scheme. I just refer you to this book right here called Fooled by Randomness. Basically, it's a pretty complicated book, but it's a statistical breakdown showing that a lot of people who find themselves in money and get rich quick, it's really randomness that did it, luck. The second point is to consult with wise people. Again, not the people who are saying, look, do this, you'll get rich quick. Look at the people who are saying, this is how you'll get rich slowly. Those are the people who have been around and have been doing this. And unfortunately, right, there's no easy way. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So find those people who you trust, who have a track record of growing people's wealth conservatively and slowly. You'll get there. Use the power of compounding. Use the power of time. Richest Man in Babylon, 7 Cures for a Lean Purse, number 5. Make of thy dwelling a profitable investment. The point here is to own your own home. As difficult as it can seem to think about owning a home these days, it's really an important part of the process of building wealth. Most people who talk about wealth building often talk about these 2 pillars of having investments like stocks and such, and then having real estate as another part of their wealth. This is where that second bucket of savings comes in, where you're saving for a long-term goal. One of those goals is a down payment on a house. There are a number of calculators online that you can look at that help you look at the difference between renting and owning. But one of the things to keep in mind is that our tax system is really set up to benefit people who own homes by allowing you to deduct the interest that you pay to the bank on your mortgage. So it may take a while, but it's really a key feature of someone who's trying to build wealth is to own some real estate. And the way you start with that is by owning your own castle, own your own home. Richest Man in Babylon, 7 Cures for a Lean Purse, number 6, Ensure a Future Income. This basically means to save for retirement. This is that third bucket of savings we talked about. As you get older, you're going to want to stop working, right? And there may or may not be Social Security for you. Who knows at this point? So you got to take care of yourself and set up savings so that you have investments that are giving you income when you're in your older age and you're retired. If you have a family, if you have children, setting yourself up with income in retirement also makes sure that you don't become a burden on those children. So be sure to work on that third bucket of savings for retirement. Richest Man in Babylon, 7 Cures for a Lean Purse. Number 7, increase thy ability to earn. The first way to do this is to increase your skills. For a lot of people, that's going to college. For other people, it may be studying a trade and getting good at that. Whichever way you go about this, you're trying to increase your marketable skills so that people will pay you more for your work. This may include continuing education or further certifications in your area of work. The author also talks in this section about respecting yourself. And what he means by that is paying your bills on time, taking care of your family, having a will so that your family is taken care of in case you're gone, and giving back to others as you become more fortunate. Richest Man in Babylon, meet the goddess of good luck. The big point the author makes here is that people of action are favored by the goddess of good luck. Back to this other book, Fooled by Randomness. The author makes the point that there's a lot of people who try really hard in life and might not get lucky, but it's more likely that you're going to get lucky if you're an action-oriented person who's trying really hard. The author also talks about opportunities. There's this acronym, NOW, no opportunity wasted. And this means that if an opportunity or possibility comes from you, take it. Just keep taking those opportunities until they come together and manifest in good luck for you. Richest Man in Babylon, the 5 Laws of Gold. So the book gets a little repetitious at this point, so I'm really just going to cut to the chase and summarize these things very briefly. Law number 1, save 10% of what you earn. Law number 2, make your money work for you. Use the power of time and compounding. Law number 3, get wise advice. Remember, you don't know what you don't know. Law number 4, invest in things you understand, or at least in things that your wise counselors can explain to you. Law number 5, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Beware of offerings that promise super high returns or get rich quick type schemes. Richest Man in Babylon. A few more things from the remainder of the book. Better a little caution than a great regret. So this is about risk. Imagine you make a very risky investment. The idea is it's risky because it has a lower probability of working out. So just ask yourself, what kind of regret would you feel if it didn't work out? And would you prefer to be a little more cautious and potentially have less regret? We cannot afford to be without adequate protection. So what this means is he's talking about your emergency fund again. So we talked about having a cash account where ideally you have 6 months worth of expenses in that account. That's your protection. Where the determination is, the way can be found. This is like where there's a will, there's a way. Keep trying, never give up. Richest Man in Babylon. Advice on what do you do if you have debt? The first thing to do is to write down all your debt and look at the interest rate you're paying on that debt. Order it from the highest to the lowest interest you're paying. For example, a credit card usually has the highest debt, then perhaps something like a student loan or a car loan or a mortgage. The idea with paying off debt is to always pay off your highest interest debt first. Now, if you're looking for a marker of how much of your earnings to use to pay off your debt, the author suggests using 20% of your earnings to pay down that debt. Now, this is a big allocation, but getting that debt paid down is super important to moving forward and building your wealth.